What's up guys, Crypto Beardless here and welcome back to a brand new video. As you probably guessed from the title, this video is about banks. In recent times I've had quite a lot of problems with banks and I've discovered quite a few issues with them. As a result, I've kind of been forced out into the experimental world of fintech and cryptocurrency solutions to store and use money. So I'm going to go through some of the problems and then I'm going to go through some solutions which should hopefully give you some ideas on ways to take your money back. Problems. Number one, banks have to risk your money to operate. As you probably know, when you open up a bank account or whatever, they'll talk a bit about the interest, which is the money you'll make from holding money with them. You might be aware that the way they do that is by investing in things. And that's the main way that banks make money and are able to cover their operating costs, is by investing the money they hold into things to make more money, to make profit, and to also give a return to their bank account holders. A lot of major banks from the US and UK are only just returning to a profitable level since the 2008 banking collapse, which was now 10 years ago, believe it or not. Since then, a lot of them give really poor interest rates. Some places there's even cases of negative interest rates where you have to pay them to hold your money. In my opinion, the risk of holding money in a bank is beginning to outweigh the potential reward for holding money with a bank. Because if things go south, banks are going to be the first places to clog up and probably end up stopping whoever's a client at the bank being able to access their money. Cryptocurrency is an amazing solution in this sense because the network is entirely self-sufficient in paying for its operating costs. You know, the people who maintain the network and allow transactions to be processed get rewarded. If banks want to compete in the future, they're going to have to find ways to generate more sure and solid income. In the future, I could see a blockchain bank being a thing. Number two, they offer very little support and assistance when something goes wrong. Fortunately, a few months ago, I was the victim to fraud when I sold Bitcoin for fiat. The guy I was selling it to paid with a stolen credit card, and then when they reported it, my account got frozen and I was without money for over a week. When I finally done everything to get it open, they took the disputed amount out of the account into like a dispute account, and it was to be held there until the issue was resolved. Then I discovered about a month and a half later that the money had just been released back to the original person and I hadn't been like consulted or notified about it at all. So this left me without the money and also without the Bitcoin which I sold, and currently now I'm having to go through a big hassle to contact the ombudsman and, you know, file police reports and all that, and I'm also really unlikely to get anything back, which is a bit of a bummer. And this isn't just cryptocurrency related. There used to be similar issues that happen when selling second-hand cars and, you know, general credit card fraud. If you can't prove it in their view that the original person was the perpetrator, then the money has to go straight back to them as per their policy. It's pretty disgusting, in my opinion, that an overseeing figure can just stop and then move things willy-nilly without any consultation, and there's very little you can do about it. With cryptocurrencies and stuff, a transaction is basically final and can't be reversed unless there was a major network overhaul where the blockchain was rolled back, which rarely and also shouldn't really happen, and I don't see it ever happening with Bitcoin. I think a lot of people view that as a negative because they're like, what if you make a mistake? But the thing is, most people make transactions intentionally, and perhaps also if the controls to move or stop things weren't so easily accessible, then proper investigations would be carried out, and then in order to pay the money back if the investigation finds that it was a case of fraud, would be able to be carried out in a pretty fair and competent manner. Number three, they can control where and how you spend your money if they don't like what you're up to. The reason I found out that the money had gone straight back to the original account was because the bank were stopping my money from being used to pay with cryptocurrency related activities. I knew that there was a widespread crackdown with credit payments for crypto related things, but my bank and a few others have also stopped debit transactions, which in essence are your own money, especially when, you know, I don't have an overdraft on my account. I was planning to buy a huge amount when Bitcoin went back down to $6,000 briefly, and as a result of being unable to buy, I've lost out on about £90,000 profit. I think it's absolutely ludicrous that the bank can say no to me spending my own money my own way, and it's actually a basic human right, so technically is a violation. Again, with the Bitcoin network, there are no ways to stop who you send money to unless you're using a third-party wallet like Coinbase or whatever. Then you're entirely free to do what you want with it. So I've talked a wee bit about the problems here, and I've got a few solutions, you know, if anyone wants to kind of break away from banks or has been having similar problems. The first is to hold Bitcoin. I know it's a little generic sounding just to say buy Bitcoin, but holding Bitcoin could be a saving grace in a time of need. Buy yourself a little ledger wallet or like a Trezor wallet, and if you hold Bitcoin in your own wallet, then you're entirely free to do whatever you want with it. And at the very least, if you're really struggling, you could send the money to someone else in return for cash in fiat or whatever. There's also a bunch of services that let you buy and use Bitcoin as a payment currency. Purse is quite a big one because it basically opens up all of Amazon to be able to be bought, and they basically sell everything. And there's also the opportunity to get it at a discount. There's things such as BitPay, and then a bunch of retail shops already accept Bitcoin such as Steam, Expedia, and even Lush, you know, the soap place. So you should generally be able to find a way to buy whatever you want with Bitcoin. Number two, deal in cash where possible. I know that cash is a little outdated and, you know, it doesn't hold value with inflation, and it can be quite tricky to store safely, but apart from that, it holds quite a lot of similar qualities to Bitcoin in the sense that you're entirely in control of it, and it can be handy when Bitcoin's not an option to pay for something. It's also technically more anonymous than Bitcoin if you can spend it in the right way, and it might be worthwhile having a bit of a cash reserve in case of being frozen out of bank accounts, or if you just don't want people to know your spending habits. Number three, you could try some of the new fintech banking apps that have come out as of late. You might have heard of things such as Monzo, Revolut, and Bunk. Each of them are kind of portrayed as these banks of the free where they have pretty easygoing policies on things such as cryptocurrency. They have pretty modern and efficient policies and processes. For example, a lot of them are entirely online based and don't have actual bank. Revolut actually lets you store cryptocurrency in the app, which can be a major plus, and I'm pretty sure Bunk does a similar thing, although I've not been able to try that out because it's based in like mainland Europe and uses euros, which living in the UK I don't actually have any use for. Each of the apps can act as a standalone bank account essentially as well, or an intermediary, which can be handy if you want to do things like buy cryptocurrency. They all provide you with a debit card as well, so you can use it on the go, or if you want to use them online or whatever. To me, they seem like a really great step forward from traditional bank. I'd still be careful at using them because they're new companies and there's some new technology in there as well, but they look like the way forward, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how they progress and using them more because I've had enough of regular banks. That's about it for today's video. Hopefully you've learned something new here or made you think about, you know, ways that you can be more financially independent. Remember to like and subscribe and follow me on Twitter if you want. Keep an eye out for a new video next week, and I will see you next time.